The optical sector was the focus of this tour today.
Yes.
And but from a broader point, for investors, why do investors do tours like this to understand the companies?
Sure. I think the main reason is that I'm sure you saw the difference, right? Typical financial conferences, you're given maybe 30 minutes to do a presentation and Q&As. So there's a sense of, rush. Whereas here, we're given plenty of time to do presentation plus go through Q&As. And, investors...
Yeah, well, I think for investors who haven't been to these tours, maybe they know companies by reading the financials. Maybe they know companies by seeing the presentations online or listening to conference calls. Or even an investor conference where you see a dog and pony show and you get a couple of questions. This is a very different tenor to it. The people here knew what was going on.
Right. So they want to get in-depth information from companies, which products, they get product granularity, where as a typical financial conference, they only talk about product lines, etc., but that they talk about specific products. For example, a lot of companies talked about tunable XFPs as their growth drivers going forward. There was a lot of talk about WSS ROADMs. So they talk about specific products rather than broad products.
And at a financial conference, just explaining what a ROADM is might take 2 minutes of an 8-minute Q&A. Let me ask you specifically about the company. So we saw some companies today, a lot of them really selling some of the same stuff to the same customers. What do you think we learned today about end market demand?
Well, I think going forward, you got to have some kind of a niche. For example, Finisar and JDSU, they are the clear leaders in WSS ROADMs, and that's why I think they outperformed the industry in the last couple of years.
Now, and I'll back up a little bit because not all of our viewers know everything about.
Sorry.
This is the junk that goes in the inside of the boxes. Well, if you don't have to pay for it, it goes in the inside of the boxes that are sold by the likes of Ciena and Huawei and Cisco and Alcatel-Lucent. So this not junk. What do we learn today?
Well, so there's still great demand, even though right now the industry itself is going through a bit of inventory correction. But I think over time, I think the demand for especially niche products like WSS ROADMs, tunable XFPs, 40G, 100G, I think they will lead the industry out of the current slump.
Well, I think the biggest question going in, I read through the conference calls and the quarterlies before going into this, and a lot of companies said, hey, we just had a lousy quarter.
Sure.
And we might have had a lousy quarter before that, but don't worry. It's just about to get better.
Sure.
And investors look at that with great skepticism. So based on visiting 4 companies today, hearing about end market demand, do you get the sense that it's better yet? Do you get the sense it's maybe going to get better or something changed?
I think it's going to get better. And remember, optical industry...
Not better yet.
Well, Finisar, said it's getting better. I think the other 3 companies, I think there's a cautious optimism that things will get better. And let me just go back and talk about the overall industry. Optical industry is a cyclical industry, but it's also a growth industry, right? If you look at the last several downturns and upturns, a typical downturn lasts maybe 3 to 4 quarters, whereas upturns last maybe 1 to 2 years. And we just went through a downturn that was driven by 2008 financial crisis.
And maybe it seems like we're finally getting to the end of that turnaround.
Exactly. We're into about 6 to 9 month downturn right now, so I think upturn is right around the corner.
Dave Kang, really appreciate it.